Well, good morning, you world champions. Does everybody feel like a world champion right now, or you feel like taking a nap? Don't do it now, because I've got some wonderful stuff to tell you this morning. You can take a nap this afternoon in this fantastic, cold, wet, windy weather. Folks, if you're visiting with us today, you're so welcome. It's really, really good to have you. Would appreciate your prayers, folks. As you know, Trevor Dalgleish has got COVID. He's isolated. He's in hospital. He's in isolation ward there. And he looked like he was getting out of it this last week, but he's not well. And you need to be praying for him. Also, Jean's going in for a procedure this week on her back. So, Johnny, before you go, please teach Flippy how to make muffins. That's another story. But we certainly will be praying for Jean as she goes in there. Folks, today, Matthew and Kirsty, this is your last day with us until you come back next month on holiday. But anyway, you're leaving this country as world champions. I hope they bow down to you when you get into Heathrow Airport. And anyway, go with God, and please say hello to all our loved ones that you can't wait to see over there. Please don't forget, next Sunday is our fellowship meal. And so we won't be having an adult Bible study. Folks, you need to stay for our Bible study today. Really, I've got some wonderful stuff to share you, and we've got to know this stuff. It will be of huge benefit to you. Mark up your Bibles. But so next week is our fellowship meal. And then please don't forget that on Saturday the 23rd of December, we're going to have a carols by candlelight now. We've got a bunch of people sewing into that. I'm hoping it's going to be the best, biggest, most wonderful we've had ever. We've got get our children involved. There's going to be real candles here, and our kids and fire and kids. It's a match made in heaven, isn't it? So it'll be exciting for them, and we're looking forward to that. It's an opportunity for you to bring your friends, your loved ones, your families. Who doesn't like a carols by candlelight? Everybody loves it. We're going to come together. We'll start at 6 o'clock, but as you know, at 6 o'clock on the 23rd of December, it's still light, and we'll have a meal together, and then we'll get to sharing the candles a little bit later when it goes dark. Folks, I've got some fantastic news to you. Our building was sold this week. This building. Isn't that great? So a sale agreement, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, God is good. I just thinking about our past, and God has just taken care of things. You know, it took us 10 years to buy this building from the municipality, this property. And I just see God's hand in all of this. And so where to from now? Well, let's if we can just go to I'm going to speak to you this morning about the awesome power of vision. But where to from now? So number one, we're going to have a congregational meeting during the adult Bible study in 2 weeks' time. Okay, you can just bring that up. So that will be held on the 12th of November during the normal adult Bible study time. And we're going to get together. People are going to be saying, what about this and what about that? And we're going to make all sorts of suggestions. What we want to do at that meeting is we want to appoint a task team. We're going to be looking for volunteers, people maybe who feel gifted in this area, to say, to look to the future and to find us a new home. Of course, the questions are, how long have we got you? We don't know. Where are we going? We don't know. Does God know? Absolutely. And but we're just excited that things are moving, and it's a wonderful time for everybody, all of us, to step up and get involved in the process. We love your contribution. And number three, we're going to announce a special day of prayer and fasting to be held. We know that not every one of you can fast, can go without food for a day, but those who can, we'd love you to join us. That day will be announced next Sunday. And so we know that you've got lots and lots of questions. Hopefully we can, there's a lot of questions, no answers at this time, but we were absolutely convinced that God's got us covered, never let us down in the past, and really we're thinking about the future. We have a vision for the future. So that's why this morning I want to speak to you about the awesome power of vision and seeing the future with faith and not fear. Seeing the future with faith and not fear. The Apostle Paul said this, I have not been disobedient to the vision God had given me. And Lord, thank you for that. Thank you that Paul didn't do that, because he's left a legacy. We are here today because of the Pauls and the Peters and the Johns and the Philip and the Thomas and the Matthews and the Thaddeus's. They the ones that took the vision, God, and they moved towards the future. And the rest is history. Can you imagine if when Ananias said to the Apostle Paul or Saul, rise, be baptized, washing away your sins, that Saul said, not for me. This is not for me. Well, you and I don't know what the future would have looked like if he hadn't done that. But Paul said, God has given us a vision and I'm going for. Of course, we know that famous passage of Scripture, Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 18, where there is no vision, the people perish. Where there is no vision, the people perish. And folks, I would love us for 2 weeks' time just to come together and say, what about this? What about that? How about we do this? Now we get a facility where we can do that. Wouldn't that be great? Can you imagine our future when all of us pool our incredible talents together? We just put it together, we stand together, and we march into the future with faith and not with fear. Comfort is the death of any church. I mean, we could just stay here and we just carry on, we just get a limp around, or we could say, listen, we need a facility where we can take this congregation to the future, where we can give God the glory and the honor in an even better way. And of course, I know this is, it's kind of like, what about this and what about that? Nervy times. So when my grandchildren heard about this, they came in mass to me and said, we don't want to leave there. We like this place. And in fact, to the extent I said, if you take us to another place, we're going to take all your money. That was what my grandchildren did. But I tell you what, wait until you've seen where we're going to go to. And then you'll say, yeah, we'll give you some of our pocket money and for a better future. Because that's what we're thinking about. We're thinking about our children and our grandchildren. I want you to think about this, that an unclear vision leads to indecision. James, this brother of Jesus, this man who didn't really want to have anything with Jesus before the resurrection, after the resurrection, he came and said, okay, I'm on board. Double-minded people can't make up their minds. They waver back and forth in everything we do, everything they do. And we don't want to be those people. We want to be people decisive. We want to be people like James and say, listen, we're not just living for ourselves. We're living for a future. Because you know what? We want to leave a legacy. We want to be able to say, when I hop the twig, that expression my dad used to leave, he would say, one day when I hop the twig, I want you to do this or want to do that. And so when we all hop the twig, we want to leave a congregation that is strong and ready to robust to be able to face the future. An unclear vision also leads to division. How about this? When a country is in chaos, everyone has a plan to fix it. But it takes a leader of real understanding to straighten things out. God, give us leaders to take this country out of the mess it's in. And God, give us leaders in this congregation and rise up from our membership to take us into the future. An unclear vision will also lead to collision. How about what Paul said to Timothy? 1 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 9. Some have refused to let their faith guard their conscience, and their faith has been destroyed like a wrecked ship. And Paul knew about wrecked ship. He'd been in a ship when it was wrecked. He'd been in a ship in a monster storm. And so Paul knew about these things. And so the question is, will your faith be your guide as we make decisions for the future, or are we going to be governed by fear and the what-ifs in this life? So we're going to be praying, as we've been asking you to do for some time now. We're going to be fasting about this. But folks, what God is not going to do is not going to put a star in the sky and lead us over and say, you come and stay here in Bethlehem or go there or that. We're going to be praying about this and our God to open doors, close doors, and give us clarity of mind and give us a wisdom that leads us into the future. So exciting times. The words of Jesus in Matthew chapter 6 read like this. Jesus said, your eyes are the lamp of your body. If your eyes are open, and if they're good, your whole body will be full of light. But if your vision is bad, your whole life will be full of darkness. And if the light you think you have is really darkness, it's the worst kind of darkness you can have. And I'm asking you this morning, how's your vision? How's your vision? Can you say, what? I can imagine us having a facility here or there. I can imagine us as a church doing this. I can imagine us as a congregation moving that and growing like this and planting churches here and doing that. Folks, we need to be a people of vision. Because churches without a vision may as well just get out a white stick and just walk down the road and get bumped by every fear that comes their way. So, what does a vision for the future look like? I want to take you to this amazing example, and you know it well. I'm taking it from Numbers chapter 13. So read with me. This is really an example of seeing the future with faith and not fear. Moses gave the men these instructions and sent them out to explore the new land. Go northward through the Negev into the hill country and see, develop your vision and see what land is like, what the land is like, and find out what the people living there, if the people living there are strong or weak. Are they few or are they many? What kind of land do they live in? Is it good or bad? Do the towns have walls or are they unprotected? How is the soil? Is it fertile or poor? Are there many trees? Enter the land boldly and bring back samples of the crops you see. So that's why we really want to have a task team that will go and say, listen, as a body, let's vision, let's see where we can go. Let's put our eyes together, let's put our faith together and see where we can go. And I want to remind you that these people are launching from a wilderness. They're going from the wilderness wanderings, and Moses is sending them into the promised land. So they spied out the land, and all the way from the wilderness up to Hebron. There they saw the Ammonites, the Shizites, and the Telemites, and the Termites. All the families descended from Anak. When they came to Eshcol, they cut down clusters of grapes so large that it took 2 of them to carry it back on a pole. Now, folks, I've seen some trosdrywe in my time, but I've never seen a bunch of grapes so heavy that had to be put on a pole that 2 been carried. This is the promised land that the people were checking out. They also took samples of pomegranates and figs. This is just incredible. Who these things belong to, I don't know. But then you'll read that in Numbers. Now, we carry on reading. After seeing the land for 40 days, the men returned to Moses and Aaron, and the people of Israel waited at Kadesh in the wilderness of Paran. They reported to the whole community what they had seen. And you know what? What one person sees is not what another person sees. Isn't that interesting? Like the ref makes a decision, but no one in New Zealand saw the same decision that the ref made yesterday. But anyway, we do understand now that God supports the Springboks. You know. To win by 1 point 3 weeks in a row, we know the refs were on our side. But these people came back with all these things. I know just about it. Oh, put the grapes there, pomegranates, figs. This is incredible. And the people waiting there. Tell us about it. What does it look like out there? This posse, this party, this group, this task team that had gone out. And they showed them the fruit that they'd taken from the land. I can imagine what it's like just looking at this stuff. When you come from the wilderness, you've been eating manna, quail. You would love a grape and a pomegranate and a fig. That would go down really, really nice. So, folks, but you know what? Looking at the future with fear, it can cause many problems. And I really want to caution you against that, because it can be a nervy time for us. And we know that there are challenges. We know that there are giants in the land. We know, as these people are going to say, there are fortified cities. And, Satan is never going to make anything easy for God's people. As I said earlier, it took us 10 years to get this property from the municipality. And now look back, you know what? Oh, that's one of the best things we ever did. The pain of that was just... Sometimes they said, let's just forget it. Let's just carry on, just renting and leasing this from the municipality. Can you imagine where we would be now if we had done that? Let's have a look at what happens if we look at the future with fear and not with vision. Number one, it overemphasizes the negative. It overemphasizes the negative. This was their report to Moses. And the people were standing with bated breath. We arrived in the land you sent us to see. And it is indeed a magnificent country, a land flowing with milk and honey. Here is some of its fruit as proof. But, when as soon as they say but, this thing is going southward from there. This conversation is going northward. And unfortunately, folks, even in this country, there are a lot of people with big butts. Okay? But the people living there are powerful. And their cities and their towns are fortified. They are very large. We also saw the Anakim, descendants of the Anak, who are living there. Wow, how many of these people are just getting petrified now. They're whipping up a storm. And just listen, it's great there. Oh, but I don't think we can do it. The second thing, facing the future with fear does, it pays too much attention to what others are doing. It pays too much attention to what others are doing. Folks, we need to be paying attention to what God is able to do within and through us. The Amalekites live in the Negev, the Hittites, Jebusites, and the Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live near the sea and along the Jordan River. You know, these people look at these, and these are giant people. You know, they've got this and they've got everything covered. Number 3, facing the future with fear, it underestimates the abilities God has given us. You know? Verse 31 of Numbers chapter 13. But the men who had gone up with Caleb said, we can't attack these people. They are stronger than we are. Man, I wonder what Moses is thinking now. I think Joshua and Caleb must have thought, you guys have got to be joking. They said, listen, let's just go back into the wilderness, wander around, live in tents, live with our tabernacle. We'll just carry on eating like we've all done before. We've seen what's in the land, but you know what? It's giants. It's too much effort. We don't want to put in the effort and face the giants. Look at Job chapter 3 and verse 29. Job said, what I have always feared has happened to me. What I have dreaded has come to be. In other words, it's the I told you so mentality. It's the type of people who said, oh, I've told you so. I told you so. You're Job. Yep. What I expected, that's exactly what's happened. You didn't listen to me. These things, big giants. It's hard walls, the walled cities. Told you it wouldn't work. I told you we couldn't do it. And I tell you what, it drove everybody crazy. Look at Numbers chapter 13 and verse 32 and verse 33. They said, the land we explore devours those living in it. What's this? Are there monsters living in there? Is this the Yeti or the Bigfoot or whatever? All the people we saw there are of great size. They're bigger than us. We saw giants there. Folks, this is what's happened when you go onto the playing field with fear. I just so remember this when I was playing rugby at school. You'd always line up by the side, your team and their team, and I was always saying, these guys are bigger than us. And you know what? What they're saying, these guys are bigger than us. Everybody's saying these guys are bigger than us. Why? Because it's pure fear. Number four, facing the future with fear, it infects others with negativity. They spread a bad report. These giants in the land, these guys are this big. And when that story went around, these people are this big. Oh, did you hear? The people in that land are this big. Oh, and this bad report just started to ripple through the people who were waiting eagerly for this report. They see the fruit, but the report, the words going around are bad. It's all these naysayers going around. But don't say that everything people call a conspiracy is a conspiracy, Isaiah said. And do not fear what they fear. Don't let it terrify you. Folks, same with this country, this conspiracy theories. It flies around on social media about everything and this and that. You know what? We've got an awesome God. And he's going to take us into the future, but we need to be a people of faith. Number five, when we face the future with fear and not faith, I just make myself miserable. Don't sleep at night. Ooh, what about this? What about that? What about this? What if we say, this is not our church. It's the Lord's church. We are servants here. And we're going to go into the future with faith and not fear. Then all the people began to weep aloud. All the people began to weep aloud. And they cried all night. And they grumbled and they complained, woe is us, woe is us. They grumbled and they complained in a great chorus against their leaders, Moses and Aaron. We wish we had died in Egypt or even here in the wilderness. Oh, but before I die, please can I have a grape or a pomegranate or a fig. They're living this miserable life in the wilderness, but sometimes you just get comfortable in the misery you are in. And I tell you, it's because of they didn't see the promised land. Most of them didn't see it. It's just this little party that came back. And yet the negativity scared them to death. They were scared of the effort, of the challenges, of the battles ahead, so that they could go and there would be a future for their children and for their grandchildren, a future with milk and honey. Folks, let's close with this. The antidote is this: develop a life vision of faith. That's what we need to do as a church family. We've got a rich history here in Durban, and we want to make it even richer history for the people who will come after us. We need to be a people of faith leaving legacies. Then Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, we should go at once and take possession of the land right now. We can certainly do this. Church, we can certainly do this. Then Joshua said, we saw the land ourselves, and it's very good. If we obey the Lord, He will surely give us the land, rich with milk and honey. So don't rebel. We have no reason to be afraid of the people who live there. The Lord is on our side, and they won't stand a chance against that. That's from the Contemporary English version. Folks, I know we don't know where, why, how, not, but I tell you what, we absolutely believe this is the Lord's church, and He won't. He hasn't finished His work within us yet, and we want to take it to even higher places. So look forward to being with us in 2 weeks' time for that meeting. Be praying about this whole thing. Praying about maybe you just volunteering and say, "Listen, I'll step up," because if whatever happens, it's going to be monster work. I just think of moving what we've got here. Big work. If you have any questions, we'd love you to come talk to us, and then really get involved in our times of prayer, in our times of fasting. Let's stand together as we sing.